during a shutdown are going to withstand legal scrutiny, given that some unions are saying this is a violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act?
Well, we are confident, Margaret. Of course, we always follow the law and we always follow court cases. And we think that we have the authority to do what we need to do. I'm sure that some people will sue and that will get figured out in court. But the reality is, we have to remember, why are we in this situation, Margaret? All these conversations about whether it's a temporary layoff or a permanent layoff, we're dealing with a terrible, chaotic situation because Chuck Schumer and a few far-left Democrats decided to shut down the government. If they just joined with the moderate Democrats and the vast majority of Republicans, we can open up the government and all of these conversations will no longer be necessary.
When I pressed Leader Schumer on this program just last Sunday about this, about reopening the government, he said it's going to take getting everyone in the same room with the President of the United States. Only the 5 people, including the President, he said, can solve it. Why doesn't the President insist that lawmakers come back to Washington, sit with him, and talk this through?
Well, as Chuck Schumer said, it's not all lawmakers. It's the Senate leadership that really is driving this shutdown. The House has already passed a bill to reopen the government. It's the Senate. And again, it's a far left sort of contingent of Senate Democrats.
But the president says he's a deal maker.
Keeping the government shut down.
Why doesn't he force a deal here? Why doesn't he tell Republicans, like the Speaker, get your lawmakers back here, come into my office, let's hammer this thing out?
Margaret, it's a totally fair question, and the answer is because this isn't a deal-making, this isn't a negotiation, this is hostage-taking. Chuck Schumer has not said to us, this is what we need. He's said that unless you give us what we need, we're going to shut down the government. That is a totally different thing. If Chuck Schumer wants to come into the Oval Office or come to my house, he is welcome to talk about how to fix health care policy for Americans. Of course, we want to lower insurance premiums. We want to make sure that the skyrocketing health care costs of the Biden administration start to level off and hopefully come down. That's one conversation. But you don't come into the Oval Office and say, unless you, the President of the United States, give us everything that I want, I'm going to shut down the government. I'm going to deny low-income women and children their food benefits. I'm not going to pay the troops. That is what Chuck Schumer has put us in the situation of doing. We don't negotiate with a person who has taken the entire federal government hostage over a health care policy dispute. And I think that basic principle, you saw Barack Obama say this to Ted Cruz and a number of Republicans. We want to talk about health care policy, but we're not going to shut down the government over this. That's all that Donald Trump is now saying to Chuck Schumer and the far left Democrats. We are not going to negotiate over opening the government. We'll negotiate on health care policy, but only once you do your job and open up the people's government.
Okay, just a quick follow there, though. What is your vision for that health care policy? Do you want these tax credits to fade out over time, extend them, and then fade them out? Are you open to making them permanent?
Well, the tax credits go to some people deservedly, and we think the tax credits actually go to a lot of waste and fraud within the insurance industry. So we want to make sure that the tax credits go to the people who need them. We also think that Obamacare gave the health insurance industry a lot of ridiculous regulations that if we cut out, we could give people access to better health care at a lower cost. That's what we're working on. And again, I think there's a lot of agreement, actually, Margaret. That's the crazy thing about this. There's a lot of willingness to negotiate, a lot of willingness to compromise from both the moderate Democrats and certainly from the White House. But if the far left Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, are going to shut down the government and refuse to open up the government unless they get everything they want, that's not a negotiation. That's a hostage taking, and we're not going to reward that kind of behavior from Washington, D.C.
All right, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your time this morning.